Fantastic. Hello, everyone, and good morning to those of you who are on the East Coast of the United States and Georgia, and to you too as well, Jag. And I guess it's 2 o'clock, so it's edging up on mid-afternoon. So today we're going to walk through, and let me just go ahead and share my screen, a deck I created to talk about what we have developed in order to help support the pilot and the overall ambassador program. And just give me a second. There we go. Let's see, is this just looking to see? There we go. Okay. So on your screen, I'm assuming you can see what I am seeing, which is supporting the ambassador program. Yeah.
Yes.
Is everyone able to see it? Okay, fantastic, great. Okay, so this is a short deck, but it does have references to a number of documents that I'd like to walk through. And the intention of this of the session today is to really, dig in to provide and review resources in support of the GIL Express Ambassador Program. This has also been referred to as sort of the train the trainer program, but I think this is really intended for just the pilot libraries and as a means to sort of assisting in the development of that program, the ambassador program, and specific to GIL Express. Okay, so some of the resources that we're going to be looking at today are the FAQ for pilot libraries, an OpenRS testing guide, and also the reporting of OpenRS issues. So just taking a step back with respect to the ambassador program, and please feel free to pipe in if you have a different understanding. And please do interrupt. I probably won't be looking at the screen for hands up, or Jag or anyone else can just feel free to interrupt along the way. But understanding what the program objectives are is really sort of tantamount to what we're looking at today. So number one, we're really building OpenRS domain knowledge within the pilot libraries. Number two, we're developing an OpenRS Train the Trainer program for all libraries participating in GIL Express. And then third, really sharing best practices for reporting OpenRS software issues and configuration needs, not just during the exercising of the software, but also beyond that, into production. So we want to touch on that as well. I also want us to understand that while we've created a set of resources to help the cause here, that your needs may change. And so just wanted to let you know that we're here to help modify and enhance the existing resources as a means to help you, and also as a means to help future OpenRS community members as well. So those three resources are primary, but there are other resources as well that I'll be making available during the session, or I should say reviewing during the session, but also making available for your review and augmentation as well as time moves forward. So let's take a look at the first document, and that is an FAQ for pilot libraries. So we have a couple of objectives here. So in addition to building sort of product domain, we want to provide you with answers to questions that help build that product domain expertise for the pilot libraries and beyond, and then also provide a baseline FAQ for all Galileo libraries. There is a link in here, and I have this already pulled up, and I just want to touch upon a few of these, and then we can go through as many as you'd like, but just wanted to give you a flavor of what it is that has been drafted. So I'll read this out loud, and then I'll also talk to a number of the FAQs so you get a sense of what's in here. So this FAQ is an evolving document. It's intended to be a starting place for GIL Express central office and pilot library personnel to build OpenRS domain knowledge in preparation for aiding member libraries in building their own OpenRS domain knowledge. So that is the hope, is that the resource will aid in the development of an OpenRS ambassador program for Galileo. So one of the questions that might come up, and I think it certainly came up during the implementation of Mobius, the first consortium to implement OpenRS, is why do we need to go through the process of exercising the software? And it may seem obvious. For Mobius, I think it was a bit of a tilt from what they have been used to in the past in terms of being beta partners with prior vendors, software vendors. But the reason for exercising the software here is not so much to identify the, or rather to get comfortable with the software. That's certainly a secondary goal, but primarily it's to confirm that the OpenRS configuration throughout the entire system accurately supports consortium policy and library. So as you're going through some of the testing of the software, the test scripts are intended to draw your attention to specific elements of the user experience, such as confirming that all of your pickup locations are listed in the selector when placing a hold, and also confirming, it's just another example, confirming that the appropriate circulation rule was applied when loaning an item to a borrower, and things of that sort. So the intention, again, is not so much to get mired in the details of the behavior, but rather confirm that the data that's been profiled is accurately representing what you intended. So that's, I think that's a really important part of the exercise. But of course, just going back to this idea of becoming comfortable with the software, this is a really great way to do so. There is a lot of software there that's not exposed to users of the software. So, with the simplicity that comes with and the integration into, particular into FOLIO, is really intended to follow existing library workflows and to not add additional steps beyond what you would find in your standard circulation workflow, or to have a need to push records to the union catalog. As much automation as we could possibly muster within the last couple of years in developing the software has been put into simplifying and streamlining the operations for those of you who are sharing resources with one another. So it's that's sort of what underlies it. It's it does follow what happens in FOLIO, and as we are developing the ALMA solution, same there. When we developed the software for Mobius, the same was true of Sierra and Polaris. We're integrating directly into existing capabilities and existing operations, and not depending on changes to the software in the library management system that are different than those that you would have in a local sort of environment. That is, when editing records or when circulating material to a patron, there are not additional steps that need to be taken in order to see that, see the results of those actions in your in FOLIO in your case, and writ large, the other platforms that are involved in that are represented in OpenRS. So I always like to follow up with a secondary question, excuse me, directly related to the first, which is, what is the entire system? So it's just in line with defining terms. So OpenRS consists of multiple systems. It's really important to note that this software does not reside in just one system. It's across a distributed system. So the library management systems are obviously a very key component of this. The DCB Hub, which contains the union catalog, and the DCB service, which communicates with the individual library systems and makes decisions based upon a given set of workflows and corresponding transactions for each of those workflows. In other words, actions that are taken by users in the library management system. We also have the DCB Admin, which is a configuration management system and is also an operational support product for requests and instance clustering. That's a product that the central office will primarily use to help diagnose system problems and configure the system, such as disabling a pickup location when a library has made that pickup location unavailable for a period of time or perhaps even permanently. And then also locate DCB, which is the OPAC and discovery application. Again, those for folks who are going to be running a FOLIO as a library management system, locate DCB is another flavor of locate. It looks very, very similar. There are a few less features, and then there are also modifications to existing features that suit a union catalog. So again, attempting to have a best fit for the purpose at hand. And then also, and I know all of you, I know through Sean that all of you have been asked to review the OpenRS training video. This should be the not just a part of your understanding is making use of the training video, but also all the rest of the libraries in GIL Express. It's a really good, fairly short fairly short watch. And it's really a great way to sort of acquire working knowledge of OpenRS. So the video includes information about the OpenRS product architecture, system operations, and an OpenRS demo covering patron and staff usage through the requesting and circulation process. So just to highlight some of the FAQs, there's details about exercising the software. I want to go through that document in just a couple of minutes. But there are scripts for exercising the software, and again, the intention is to verify that the configuration is as you would expect, in particular for your libraries. So there are some questions related to that. Also, who is testing and when? So this is, of course, all dependent upon how Galileo decides to roll out the testing. But the way that it's envisioned now, as I understand it, it's really a phased process, starting with a small group of pilot libraries and expanding to a larger pool of member libraries. It is, I think, I know that you have this experience from the past, but just to sort of cover that ground, the intention is to develop product knowledge within a smaller group, and this is here, the pilot group, so that you have an opportunity to vet configuration that that crosses over libraries. So, you know, determining loan rule or determining circ rules is a really important part of that. And so confirming that it is that things are working as expected, that circ rules are being applied as expected for a given patron item combination is really, I think, critical to determining whether or not you have the correct parameters and values in place within each of the libraries, within each of the library tenants. Also, you know, what's the recommended practice for testing? Simply put, it's really the buddy system. And then I detail a couple of other thoughts in there as well. When I'm testing, where do I report my findings? So this is detailed in the OpenRS testing guide, which I'll review in just a couple of minutes here. But there is a process for that. You know, any prep work, do I need to understand DCB admin? Or is there any prep work needed to perform the test? So, so it looks like I might have covered ground a couple of times here. Maybe just an earlier version. So I will be sharing this document with all of you. It is, and I will make the deck available to you, and you'll be able to find the links in that way. But let me go ahead and take a step forward with the OpenRS testing guide. And maybe before doing that, maybe I'll pause to see if there are any questions thus far. All right, so we'll just continue to move forward. Okay, so next, the OpenRS testing guide. So what are the objectives of this guide? So first, it's really intended to build OpenRS product domain knowledge and support training activities. And then also, you know, really, as I noted earlier, primarily it's intended to identify OpenRS related configuration issues that need to be corrected. Okay, so let's take a look at the testing guide. Now, many of you may have already seen this, but I still think it's worth sort of walking through at a high level to determine if there are any gaps or any areas that could be improved upon. Excuse me. So the OpenRS.
Can I just interrupt there, Tim? Are you showing us a different screen because we're seeing the slide? Are you looking at the testing guide?
Oh goodness. Okay. Yes, I am. Hold on.
I think that might have been the case last section as well.
Oh,
that's okay.
Goodness. Sorry about that. Let me reshare. Didn't realize I wasn't sharing the whole screen. Sorry about that. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let me stop sharing and then I'll share the entire screen. Oh, yes. Okay. Make sure I have the, okay, good. Yes, my apologies. I've walked through that entire FAQ without showing that to you. Just so you can see the FAQ, here it is, FAQ for GIL Express pilot libraries. Since I reviewed this verbally and didn't get a chance to see, I'll just scroll through and identify that these are just basically FAQs that should help all of you in understanding sort of the scope and the framework that we have here for gaining a greater understanding of the software and also understanding sort of the framework itself and the different constituent parts of that framework. So let me see. Can you see the OpenRS testing guide?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So, the OpenRS testing guide. So, effectively, there's a quick introduction to talk about, what is the purpose of this document. We have various environments. I have not added the individual local locates as well here, but that'll be important to add in as well. So I'll make sure to add those in for the pilot libraries. The roles. So we have details about the library user for each FOLIO ECS tenant with the permissions to access check-in, checkout, and inventory applications. Those are core. I should have also mentioned the request. That's critical. Oh, sorry about that. So I'll update that later. Did I lose? Yes, sorry. Since I clicked on it, I might as well add it. Okay, so the request application is critical as well. That's where you're going to understand what's on the docket for supporting requests that are made of your library from other member libraries. So we also need, as a role, a central office admin user, often called a DCB administrator. DCB administrator will use the DCB admin application to monitor the status of requests and actually perform what is known as manual polling. If you've watched the training video, you will know what that means. And effectively, what it is that the DCB is querying, or that is checking in. That's a bad use of the term, checking in, for libraries. But the DCB system is checking for state changes to a given OpenRS request. And based on those state changes, there are decisions made by the DCB Hub, which is reflected in the DCB admin about what next steps to take. So, for example, when an item is loaned to a patron, that loan is understood by the DCB Hub to be a call to action to the supplying system to also check out, or that is loan, the supplier item to what's known as the virtual patron. And so that's a representative patron from the corresponding library that reflects the patron's unique identifier, their barcode, and their patron group. And the purpose of that is to align the loans in both systems. So that's just an example. There's obviously a lot more detail that we could go into there, but at this point, we're just doing a survey of this document, so we won't get into that level of detail. And there is also a lot of detail in the training video as well. So so some of the areas to test really are the union catalog. That's the build, the clustering, and the searching process. So harvesting records into the union catalog, confirming that suppression, if applied to the instance record, is applied, meaning that record is not going to be viewable in the union catalog's OPAC, or that is searching and locate DCB. We also have the clustering process, so ingesting the record, an instance record, into the DCB Hub and into the shared index, as it's also called. So the database of of union catalog instance records. Goes through a process of determining whether or not that same instance, the same instance of a record that coming from another library is in the union is matched up with that union catalog. In other words, clustered. And if there isn't enough information to determine whether or not, to determine if that record is the same as an existing instance, then a new cluster record is created. And then there's also the searching capability. Can I search for Pride and Prejudice, for example, and get the results I'm expecting? Also, there's also the component of requesting, and so that has a few bits in it as well. Patron authentication, can I use the credentials of the patron record to perform a request in locate DCB? Patron eligibility and blocks. Is this patron eligible to request? Are they in good standing with the library? And also item selection, meaning which item of multiple items from one or multiple libraries is selected for resolution, or that is selection and hence a hold. Circulation is everything downstream from requesting, which is simply put the supplying and borrowing activities between FOLIO libraries, and of course also for ALMA libraries as well. So before starting any testing, so again, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but please do watch the OpenRS quick start guide. That is the OpenRS DCB for FOLIO training video. It will give you a lot of context and background for use of the product. Pardon me. And so here are a couple of the videos. There's no need to watch the Polaris and Sierra video unless you're interested. But to see how the implementation is aligned with those platforms, but really the necessary video is this one, the OpenRS DCB for FOLIO. So I won't get into a lot of the details here in each. This is something that you can read on your own, and I would certainly be happy to follow up. Please do if you have questions, and I'll assume that you're going to funnel them through the central office. But happy to take questions on any of the content that I'm reviewing here today. Each of these areas, the union catalog, requesting, and circulation, are covered in more detail here. So we have different areas of focus, including ingest, clustering, and opaque searching. There's a bit of prep work with each of the sections. So, and the details are outlined here, including some examples of what you could find in records that would cluster together. We also want to have solely owned titles. So this is good for managing the request process. Knowing where the request is going to land just facilitates the operational activities of requesting, and without being surprised by, oh, that request went to library Z and I really wanted it to be in library X. That is a test case as well. But in terms of getting through the happy path, which is probably the most important because it is the most frequently traveled path, meaning happy path, meaning that you go through a request from beginning to end without any variation. So no patron cancellations, no supplier cancellations, no hangups of any sort. Everything goes through smoothly, and you're able to see the request from beginning to end go as expected. I've also included some screenshots where relevant. Of course, feel free to request others if you think it will help. I can happy to do that. We also have, in terms of, take a quick look at this. We have a testing template for the various test scenarios. And I'm just going to go here really quickly to show you for the union catalog tests. We have a tab for records, and we have a tab for test cases. Each one of these, please do review, and if you have questions, please do let me know. I do have a little bit of work to do in addition to make after this meeting to highlight the sort of data that you should provide for clustering and RTAC as well. RTAC meaning, if you haven't heard this phrase already, it's real-time availability checking. It's what happens in the union catalog when you land on an instance record with the details. That the locate DCB will and the DCB Hub will reach out to all the holdings libraries, so all the libraries that have an associated instance record that's clustered with the cluster record. So all of those instance records that have holdings, and those holdings that are displayable displayable will you'll want to confirm that records that you intend to be displayed are indeed displayed in the union catalog. So that's why RTAC is important. That data does not live in the union catalog, meaning the item records do not live in the union catalog. They live in the individual FOLIO and ALMA systems. So that's the story on RTAC. There's also beyond this, and we'll get into this in a few seconds, also requested and circulation scenarios. Let's go back to the testing guide. So there are some ingest scenarios, including suppression. There are clustering scenarios, and I have some details here outlined about, you know, what the clustering logic is doing. So how do records cluster? And then an opportunity to test it out, and some steps that were used in with the Mobius consortium to help identify whether or not the records that are being clustered are as you would expect, and if not, well, what to do to document your findings. So I just sorry, I want to take a step back here. One of the really great things about DCB Admin is that it covers a lot of ground, and one of the features of DCB Admin is that it shows you, and particularly, well, I mean, it shows the DCB administrator what records are clustered together and what identifiers were used to match up those instances. So it's not a black box. It's very much exposed, and it's intended to really give us all an opportunity over time to improve the clustering algorithm. So it is, as I've told many people over the last couple of years, it is a constant work stream. I've been involved in deduplication of records in a union catalog for going on 20 years. It is a it's, after a while, it's not surprising, but it is a very significant stream of work that needs to accommodate variations in cataloging approaches to cataloging, including vendors and libraries alike. So what is good about the DCB Admin is it gives you a couple different ways to look at this, and also a significant amount of detail, including the full MARC record from the source systems. So there's a lot of information that can be used to ascertain whether or not clustering is working as expected, and also opportunities for improvement. So let's go ahead and move on. Searching is another part of it. I have a full, it's kind of hard to see here, but a full detailed display of an instance record, its corresponding record attributes, summary holdings for all displayable copies. This is the RTAC. This is what RTAC populates here. Related subject fields, and then also more instance data as well. Okay, for requesting, really the areas of focus for OpenRS requesting includes patron authentication, patron eligibility, and blocks, item selection, and record request creation. So there are test records that are needed to perform testing, of course. And so you have some criteria with the patrons and to enable testing of different scenarios. You also have criteria for an instance, criteria for items, test cases, and then beyond that, circulation. And so requesting and circulation, when it comes to testing, is really combined into one set of test scenarios. So that is what this is intended to speak to. We have a test case, and these test cases follow the expected workflow for, again, that happy path, the steps that are involved, and any sort of notes that might be helpful in exercising the software. So, pardon me. I just want to point out that I have a few tasks outlined at the end of this slide deck to highlight some of what the DCB administrator should be looking for when looking at the admin application, and in particular the patron requests feature. And Sean, I know we worked through this, I guess it was last week in live, but I wanted to add some additional information here so that it's clear, like, what status are we expecting the request to be in at any one point in time. And any sort of helpful hints with respect to timing and with respect to what steps to take next as an administrator. So that is outstanding, but I will be taking care of that in the next couple of days. So we have patron request, the lender on the supplying side, the borrower when the item is being loaned, the lender when the item is being lent as well. So there is that, as I noted in as an example, there are borrowing and lending sides to the loan, and then also the same for returning the item. I also have a couple of alternate paths listed here, meaning borrowing side cancellation and corresponding steps, and then supply side cancellation and corresponding steps. And just to take a quick look, same sort of format as with the unique catalog records and test cases. We have requesting and circulation item records, requesting and circulation patron records, and then the test cases as well. And I also want to note that I'm going to take another pass at this to flesh out a few more details here, and maybe make it a little bit easier to review visually as a reviewer of the information. So, if say Sean is taking a look at these at the results of some tests, maybe a little bit easier for him to ascertain what's been reported. Oh, sounds like some folks have dropped. Okay, no, so I know we don't have a.
That's not someone dropping. It's just maybe piping up my head.
Okay.
Just while you're on that page there, I noticed you've got the phrase re-resolve and resolution. We've not really covered that, and that might be a little bit of DCB jargon in some respects. So it might be worth just covering off what that means in the context.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a great point. So Re-resolve, so resolution means effectively item selection. So based on the algorithm of which item is selected for a given request, from which library effectively the item is requested, which is currently based on geographic proximity and soon will also include, well, at least what's pertinent to GIL Express policy, also automatic request balancing. Those are a couple of the factors in determining which item is selected. So the idea with geographic proximity is for the item that's closest to the borrower's pickup, the stated pickup location, is selected when all factors are equal. So if all the items associated with a given instance record are available for request, then the item that's selected should be the item that's closest to that pickup location. And so let's just play that through. So let's say that the supplier, for example, is unable to supply that item for whatever reason. It's missing from the shelf, it's too badly damaged to loan out, etc. Then the library has the opportunity as a supplier to cancel that request. If there are other items that are available to place a hold, the system will automatically select an item and it will use the same criteria that it used in the initial item selection process. So it will resolve to the next item that's closest to the patron's pickup location. So that's what re-resolution is. And when there is not a re-resolution, that results in a cancellation of the request. In some future iteration, we plan for that to have another avenue for a resolution, such as perhaps ILL, OpenRS ILL. So that's something that we are definitely very interested in doing. And it's just a matter of priorities as to when that gets done, because we want to make sure, the bottom line here is make sure that the patron has a seamless experience from beginning to end. If in the end the patron is unable to have the material that they've requested or borrow the material that they've requested, at least we've exhausted all possible avenues, or at least with ILL, the avenue afforded via ILL. So that's what resolution means, and re-resolution. Okay, let's quickly go back here. So the next topic I wanted to cover is reporting OpenRS issues. So we just took a look at reporting for the pilot tests, right? And of course, this you should feel free to use in testing with the libraries as a whole. In fact, yes, strongly encourage it, because you want to keep track of the testing, and you want to have an understanding that individual member libraries have signed off, right? And the role of all of you as ambassadors is to, confirm that that work has been completed, and that all member libraries before going into production are properly configured and feel comfortable using the software. So there is, I won't go into much detail here, but there is a document that I have started. I still have a little bit of work to go, but with respect to going into, with respect to production level reports, we have a page here called Reporting OpenRS Issues. And so there's a bit of an introduction here. And then there's also, quite simply, member responsibilities. So this is a way to sort of identify roles and responsibilities for the work of reporting an issue to the central office administrator. So that's an assumption here that I think I've already confirmed with Sean, that we do have in place a sort of method where member libraries report issues to the central office, and central office is the first place where triage occurs. And again, you know, I want to underscore the point that DCB Admin has a lot of tools to help do initial troubleshooting, and actually to go quite deep on the troubleshooting, and in conjunction with the member libraries, pulling that information together in a coherent form that has all the requisite data in order for another person to do troubleshooting or refine a trouble ticket when sending it to its ultimate location, which is EBSCO Connect, in the case where there are where there's unexpected software behavior or configuration changes that are needed. That's what we're trying to get to, is a very streamlined process where every group along the way has the information that they need in order to run their triage, and then ultimately, if there is a bug in the system, that knowledge integration or a FOLIO team, or EBSCO and the locate team have the information they need to be able to, without having to go back for more information, perform the diagnostics that are needed in order to address the issue. So that is what this is intended to be. And as I show here, I fell a little short of finishing that up, but we do have some really great documentation, including a presentation that, or I should say a slide deck that our services team at EBSCO developed in order to help with the reporting of issues. So I'd encourage all of you to take a look at that. I'm not sure if this has already been presented to you, but I think it's a really great sort of way to understand what it is that your central office administrator and EBSCO, where we do triage on a daily basis, and of course knowledge integration and the other teams represented in FOLIO are able to effectively diagnose the problem and expedite the resolution. Okay, so let's come back to this. So I told you I had a list of outstanding tasks. Excuse me. A few of the things that I noted earlier, I'm planning to update the testing page with the DCB states that's specific to the central system administrator by the end of day Friday. Also update the test templates by the end of day Friday. Enhance the EBSCO Connect ticket submission guide. This is really what I was talking about with respect to this. This documents and reporting OpenRS issues. Oh, lost my place. And so I'm planning to have that done by the end of day Monday, and then also some troubleshooting examples as well. I'd like to pull together some troubleshooting examples, in particular for the central office role, to make it easier to identify some of the sort of common issues that we see happening with user requests, or that is patron requests. There is also one other document which I've referenced in a couple of these corresponding docs that I think Lola had fortunately given me the idea that perhaps making use of what I created for the FOLIO DCB configuration would be of help to libraries that are actually making use of the software. So this has been enhanced a few times over in the last few months, and it helps. I think to understand that, you know, that in each of the tenants each of the FOLIO tenants there is configuration that needs to happen to support the OpenRS operations. And so we've got types, roles, usage. Is it manual or automatically created? An example. So this, although the audience is really the implementation consultants, I understand from Lola that this was presented to some number of the Galileo members. And so I think it's good for all of you to have access to it. So again, I've referenced it in some of the documentation that we have here, cross-referenced it in a few of the documents here. And I would encourage you to take a look at this. It gives you some good detail about how each of these configuration elements are part and how they part of Folio and how they look within Folio as well. So we have some screenshots for all of these different data elements that are shared with Folio testing. Sorry, Folio local requesting and circulation, but also expand out. Oh, good. Lola, it looks like you've been doing some updates. That's fantastic. But also expand out some other details as well. And one of the areas I was speaking to earlier about DCB Admin, this is what I'm expecting to be able to enhance a bit more. But a lot of information here for you to review. Again, a working document, as all documents are really intended to be, and hoping that that comes in of help as well. Okay, so I know I haven't left us a lot of time for questions and answers, but we have some next steps, but why don't we just go ahead and stop there and open up the floor to questions. Uh-oh, I hope I haven't lulled everyone to sleep. Or maybe
just
it's...
to let you know, I'm not asleep, but looking out for hands that are raised.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to get back to the screen. Okay. Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Anne. Appreciate that. Love the feedback. And if there's anything that anything in addition, and I mentioned this earlier, but I just want to make sure you know, like we are really interested in helping support all of you throughout the entire life cycle of the products, of the product support, implementation, meaning adding additional members post go live, and reporting issues. So we want you to have a successful journey in making use of OpenRS and helping us enhance the software. It is really a very collaborative community, and I'm really looking forward to us working together. And also, as we add additional consortium, all of us working together as one, large community of libraries really seeking, the best outcomes from our resource sharing objectives. So please do not hesitate to contact me directly. And I also expect you probably want to filter through Sean as well. Keep him included as well as Jag. I think we really want to make sure that your implementation and post production use of the product goes as smoothly as possible, and that we again improve our service, our support, and the product. Fantastic. Oh, there's some questions. Sorry. Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I will post the document. It's open. I'll just send it to Sean, and then Sean, you can distribute to the group. I'll also put it here in chat, just in case you want to grab it in advance. And oh, let's see, share with anyone. Okay, good. Okay, sorry, that was a message from Google Chat about permissions to share. Fantastic. All right, people are jumping in already. Fantastic. Okay, well, if there are no questions, I guess we're done for now.
Great stuff. Thank you, Tim. I'll get the recording uploaded and I'll share the details of that as well. It'll be timestamped, so you'll be able to jump into specific areas that Tim referenced as well. So hopefully that'll be a useful resource for you. Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you, Tim, for that thorough walkthrough. And good luck with the next few weeks. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.